It is recording. Somebody asked me that. So yes, recording is on. All right, so why don't we start with the introduction? So first, Farron will go, and you'll introduce yourself, and then it'll be Donna. So go ahead, Farron.
Okay. Thank you all for attending today, and thank you to the Elections Committee and Bondora for this opportunity. My name is Farron Siminoff. I'm a professor in the History Department and have been so for 23 years. By way of background, I hold a PhD in American history. I am a licensed attorney and a former contract negotiator on behalf of a public benefit corporation, where I negotiated high-value complex contracts. So I'm running because I love this college and I love my students. I am running because I believe in this college's mission to provide quality education for the community we serve. The college can't serve our students without us. I am running to help rebuild our faculty. In 6 short years, we've lost nearly 1/3 of our faculty lines. We've done this voluntarily through a series of early retirement incentives with no accompanying written agreements to replace those lines. This cannot continue. I am running to not only rebuild the faculty, but to ensure historically underrepresented groups are part of this reconstruction. This we can do. I am running because faculty workload has increased both inside and outside our contract. Our class loads far surpass the contractual faculty to student ratio, which the union won't enforce, and non-classroom and PFU are working harder and longer, far past their contractual hours. This must be addressed. I'm running to provide this faculty with true accountability and transparency. No more giveaway MOAs done in secret. I will be accountable and transparent. I am running so that you can trust that a union will have your back every day of the year, whether it be for a grievance, to protect a program like Achilles, or departments like Africana Studies or LINC, or yes, our jobs. Our new NCCFT slate will be responsive to you at all times. I am running to provide the faculty with a budget analysis of the college's financial condition so that the next time we negotiate a contract, we negotiate from a position of strength. I am running to give you back your voice, a voice that is needed to retain students and grow our college. We have a constructive role to play again, and we will. We can accomplish all of this together. We can forge a new alliance with our college and, as importantly, with the community. We can be civil and strong while embarking on this new direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Donna Hope. Donna, you want to introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, Bondora. Good afternoon. My name is Donna Hope, and I am the acting president of the NCCFT. Thank you to the Election and Tellers Committee for your commitment to this important process, and thank you to the members of our union who have shown interest in running for the various positions of the Executive Committee. And thank you to all of my colleagues and union mentors who have supported me and stood by me through these extraordinarily challenging times. I'm honored to be running for the elected office of President of the NCCFT. I've held the office of the acting president since June 2020. I'm a servant leader who has provided my commitment to our members through good times and bad. When things get tough, I didn't quit and I didn't back down. I stood up and I fought. This is the time for a leader who will unite our members, not divide or exclude them. I have advocated for our members, secured a contract in an extremely difficult financial environment, and met with members to listen to concerns and provide honest answers. We've been through difficult and complex times before at Nassau Community College, but today we are facing unprecedented challenges that make our current landscape unrecognizable. We have major challenges that make, we have major challenges ahead, including adapting to the rapidly changing course work or course delivery, imagining what our lives will look like in a post-pandemic world without any idea as to when that might be and when we will return back to campus, coping with the challenges of the unknown as we begin discussions on what spring 2021 will bring, and the constant threat of declining enrollment in inconsistent federal and state funding, and so much more. But fortunately, now that our contract has been ratified, we have 2 years of stability. We have 2 years of healthcare without additional contribution, small but assured pay raises, and stability with full-time jobs. Now we have something to build on. I am a unionist. I am honest, fair, tenacious, and transparent. I have fought for our union, and I will continue to fight, having the ability to collaborate when necessary in order to move our union forward. I have and always will be a compassionate, empathetic, and interest and solution-based problem solver. I believe as a union, we are stronger when we raise each other up, that in all conditions, hope is more powerful than fear, and ultimately, unity is more powerful.
Sorry. Okay, thanks. Now we'll move on to our first question. I'd like what are your qualifications to lead the NCCFT? And why don't we have Donna start with this? Oh, wait a minute, your voice isn't back yet.
Oh, sheesh.
Unmute.
There you go.
Sorry.
Thank you. No worries. I'm qualified for the position of the NCCFT president based on my continuous experience and on-the-job training. I've been serving the NCCFT as acting president since June 1st, 2020, and served as your chief contract negotiator on our most recent and successfully ratified contract, as well as on the 2016 negotiations committee. I have served the executive committee as your vice president of classroom faculty from 2016 to 2020, and secretary from 2014 to 2016, as well as the NCCFT grievance committee chair from 2016 to June 2020. I began my NCCFT service in 2008 as an alternate representative for my department on the executive board and stood for our rights as we walked on the informational picket lines here on our campus. Additionally, I currently serve on the Reinventing Task Force and the Institutional Planning Committee, which I've served on since its inception in 2017. When the campus shut down because of the pandemic, I was asked to serve on the Executive Command Team and the Incident Command Team in the spring of 2020. I've served on both the Vice President of Academic Affairs Search Committee in 2020 and the Presidential Search Committee in 2018-19. Also, I served on the Middle States Monitoring Report Committee from 2016 to 2017. If you'd like additional details or information about my qualifications to serve as your union president, you can go to the NCCFT election committee tab on our website. I know I have and I will continue to bring the passion, substance, knowledge, experience, and commitment it takes to serve all of our members and get the job done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Donna. And Farron, could you respond to the question, please? The question was, what are your qualifications to lead the NCCFT?
Well, I listed a lot of my qualifications in my opening, so I'm not going to reiterate them all, but I've been involved with the union for 23 years. I've served as an officer on the NCCFT Executive Committee, as my department's representative on the executive board, and as the NCCFT's judge on the grievance panel, and as an academic senator. I know how the union works, and I know how we can improve it. My experience as a contract lawyer qualifies me to assume this role. The union president is designated by our NCCFT Constitution as its contract administrator and its chief contract negotiator. I have vast experience in this area. I can and will hit the ground running. Over the years, I've worked tirelessly to support this union, to support the faculty in many, many roles, and also to support the Academic Senate and to ensure the rights of those who grieve when their contract is breached. I bring expertise, experience, commitment, and energy, along with my abiding dedication to you and to our students. If you elect me and the new NCCFT slate, together we will forge a new path for this faculty, for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now let's move on to question 2. Since the world is rapidly changing and evolving, can you tell us about your recent union involvement and/or experience? Please speak to your specific accomplishments and/or training. Farron, why don't you start with this one?
Sure. You've heard about my qualifications and long experience with the union. I know this job. I know exactly how this union works. I know what it's doing correctly, and I know where we need to improve and change. The world, as this question stated, is rapidly changing, and this union needs to change with it. The union must stop relying on the college's unkept promises, oral promises, to replace some of our lines each time it agrees to these early retirements. If this trend continues, we will no longer remain viable. We need to begin preparing for negotiations, not months, but years before. I know how to do that. No more monkey surveys. These, as the name suggests, are too simplistic to be of much value. We are too varied and complex a membership for that. We need to continually solicit our members' input and make use of your knowledge and skills. And as importantly, we need to hold on to our contract in the interim. I will do that. Now, as far as my accomplishments, there are many, but there are 3 that I am particularly proud of. First, I spearheaded the legal initiative to make the foundation subject to New York State's Freedom of Information law so that their financial operations would be open and transparent. This was actually a groundbreaking decision and mandates transparency of all SUNY college foundations. Second, as the chair of the calendar committee, I successfully secured fair makeup days for the faculty in the face of the administration and, yes, this union's opposition. Despite that opposition, I was able to structure and successfully negotiate a fair deal for you, which passed in the Senate. And third, over the years, I have written at the request of the ASEC numerous legal memoranda to assist the ASEC in crafting Senate policies. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Donna, could you respond to the question? Since the world is rapidly changing and evolving, can you tell us about your recent union involvement and/or experience? Please speak about your specific accomplishments and/or training.
Thank you. As the world is rapidly changing and evolving, I am as well, along with my accomplishments and my training. Freya Stark said, not permanence, but change. Its pace and its direction are all that matter. My direction, forward. When I'm asked about recent accomplishments, I can't help but reflect on our contract. I've already mentioned it, but would like to add that although any increase in pay was an accomplishment in this environment, keep in mind that Suffolk Community College had to concede to salary deferments and currently contribute 2% to their base salary to healthcare. So let's factor that into our raise. I'm a lifelong learner, and although I've not completed my PhD, I completed my coursework, maintaining a 4.0 QM average, and made progress toward my dissertation while earning my MPhil degree. I've gone through extensive union leadership training over the last several years, including a range of topics. And in 2019, I completed the intensive 5-day collective bargaining training program in Wisconsin, facilitated by the American Federation of Teachers and Cornell University's ILR School Scheinman Institute on Conflict Resolution. Additionally, I completed NYSET's 2018 Leadership Institute, which is a highly competitive program for union leaders. I know I have and will continue to bring the passion, substance, knowledge, experience, and commitment it takes to get this job done. What is not spelled out on any CV and is what might be the most important accomplishments and experiences I've had are founded in relationships. No one person, no leader can accomplish great things in an echo chamber or by working alone. Because of the relationships I've developed through NYSET with union leaders from our state, I can reach out to them and count on them when I need guidance or information. But my union relationships started here on our campus. For without the strength of the friendships and countless hours of conversations with my colleagues, I would never be the evolving leader that I am. It's because of every member and our connections and our conversations that I have learned so much and continually learn because of their generosity of spirit and time. These relationships, along with those of several members of the administration, which I've built solid working relationships with, I know when I have a member in need, I can reach out to my network for help. This is how we evolve and grow a union, how we build bridges, not walls. We foster human connections to lift each other up. I consider the development of these relationships both some of my greatest accomplishments as well as most important training.
Okay, thanks, Donna. We're moving on to question number 3. I'd like the candidates to comment on the NCC bookstore, the rollout of the NCC All Access program, known as Books on the First Day of School, and the number of students who have yet to receive the books in the practice of the bookstore, charging one price for the books and materials one day, more than doubling the price a day later. What can be done about the current bookstore situation? Donna, you go first.
Thank you, Vandora. I mentioned my PhD studies earlier, and I will add that my major is information science with a concentration in student retention. I've read the studies that speak to the increased retention rates of having textbooks in the hands of students on day one of class. And I agree that it might have been a wonderful initiative, and the concept is founded on solid ground. I support the ideas on concerns that have been expressed throughout the week and during the forum, so I don't feel the need to repeat the obvious. Unfortunately, the timing and execution of this rollout of the NCC All Access program was an epic fail. From the earliest mentions of this program, I raised issues with administration regarding my concerns. In my department, I worked with my colleagues to craft a statement that has become part of our syllabus template, urging students to review the charges that have been automatically made to their accounts. I will continue to support the efforts of the Academic Senate, the committees, the Chairs Committee, and the AFA as we work collectively to find a solution to this program that is detrimental to student success. Earlier this week, at a Leadership Council meeting, I requested that the members of the campus leadership be present and have a voice at the next meeting of the Campus Services Committee, where this topic will be discussed. We have since received a welcomed invitation, and I am optimistic that we will be able to have an open, honest, and realistic conversation addressing this issue. This must be about our students first. We can recognize this as an attempt at a new initiative that failed. Propose solutions to fix the problem, and view this as a step toward continuous improvement of our campus. And if that doesn't work, we have other options. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, thanks. Farhan, I know, all this time I'm still getting the hang of it, right? Farhan, I'd like the candidates to comment on the NCC bookstore, the rollout of the All Access program, aka Books on the First Day of School, the number of students who have yet to receive them, and the practice of the bookstore charging one price for the books and materials on day one, and then more than doubling the price a day later. What can be done about the current bookstore situation? I can't hear you. Let's see what happens.
Did you unmute?
There you go. No, you're muted again.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me start again.
Okay.
The bookstore, unfortunately, is a manifestation in the breakdown of shared governance in this campus. That decision exhibited a profound disrespect for the faculty. It disregarded our expertise and knowledge of our students. In the past, the bookstore would have been within the purview of the Senate's Campus Services Committee, which the current NCCFT Executive Committee bargained away along with the Planning Committee in 2017. And now we see the result: chaos for us and for our students. More work for us as we try to assist our students navigate this poorly devised system. And we do it so our students don't quit out of frustration. This is not a recipe for student retention, nor to bring the community or revenues back to NCC. This is all the result of the faculty's voice being excluded from the process, and as noted, our current union officers had a direct hand in this. All right, that's now water under the bridge, so what do we do? First, we work with the college to end this program. I listened to the Board of Trustees discussion about the bookstore, and Vice President Izquierdo was less than accurate in describing its problems. This demonstrates how important it is for the union to cultivate a more open and direct dialogue with the trustees. However, dialogue can and must be predicated on mutual respect. And while we work with the college, chairs, ASEC, and union to end this program, we must urge the college to make it an opt-in system. Opt-in is a best consumer practice, and I'm sure the college will understand that. We have to assist the college to put its best foot forward. Thank you.
Okay, question number 4. How do we restore the Academic Senate's participation in major policy decisions? Farron, could you go first, please?
Sure. The most obvious starting point is to guarantee permanent reassigned time in the contract to the ASEC, as well as to the CWCC chair, as we did for most of the Senate's existence. We should not be renegotiating the reassigned time annually. That's not a victory, it's a Band-Aid. It certainly creates uncertainty for the ASEC. It's neither productive nor fair. We also need to understand that there must be, as there was in the past, a clear delineation between the role of the Academic Senate and the NCCFT. It is for the Senate, as stated under Section 20 of our contract and in Section 605.1 of the state's education regulations, that the faculty must play a role in formulating, not dictating, policy relating to such things as student health, scholarship, standards of admission, attendance, curriculum, other study programs, granting of degrees, student activities, extracurricular activities, and student discipline. This is, of course, a large basket of responsibilities, and all these issues must be brought before the full Academic Senate. Yet despite these contractual and legal provisions, our voice is increasingly shut out or marginalized, due in large measure to the current NCCFT submission of our bylaws to binding arbitration in 2017. In that, the union agreed to a wide range of bylaw changes, resulting in the removal of campus services and planning committees from the Senate. And also of great concern is the NCCFT's participation in what is now referred to as the President's Council, which too often bypasses the full Senate. However, despite the results of this self-inflicted wound, we can restore the full role of the Academic Senate. It is now up to the union to step up and enforce the contract, support the Senate, resume its full contractual and statutory role as the voice of the faculty. We can do this in a civil manner. We can be civil and strong at the same time. Thank you.
Thanks. Donna, I'd like you to respond to the same question. Let's see, where are we? How do we restore the Academic Senate's participation in major policy decisions?
Thanks, Mondora. I've always believed in and supported the importance of shared governance and considered the Academic Senate as an important pillar of shared governance on our campus. I've demonstrated my support of the Academic Senate through a most recent negotiation for their reassigned time. Part of our job as the NCCFT Executive Committee is to support the Academic Senate. We continue to advocate for them to be a voice at the table and insist on continued involvement in any major academic decision. As per our contract, Section 20 states, the Academic Senate can formulate and propose policies on class size, academic advisement, and to examine and approve recommended curricula. There are additional responsibilities and powers delineated in our contract as well, and you can please feel free to go and review. As Lynn Bergen, the current secretary of the Academic Senate, mentioned during the Secretaries Forum earlier this week, the Academic Senate Executive Committee meet on a regular basis with administration to discuss major issues. I might add, they have standing invitations on the Chairs Committee meeting, the Academic Affairs meeting, the President's Leadership Council, the Institutional Planning Committee, and because I advocated for faculty voices on the Reinventing Task Force, a voice there as well. I know that I respect and support the voice of the Academic Senate, and I believe they do have power to contribute to a major policy discussion on our campus. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. Stay where you are. The
Yes.
next question, number 5, how would you handle the temporary lines as well as keep all the probationary lines?
Thanks, Vandora. As the NCCFT Executive Committee has recently demonstrated, we will continue to fight for and protect the probationary and temporary lines. We are always making strong arguments with administration regarding the value of full-time faculty and what we bring to the table. Clearly, as a union, we have some work to do and an opportunity to strengthen our arguments, to use our strength to analyze data available to validate and support our beliefs of the impact full-time faculty have on the retention of our students and the work that our full-time faculty delivers. Additionally, full-time faculty provide office hours, mentoring, advisement, a variety of student support and student engagement activities that is not contractually required of our respected adjunct faculty colleagues. And with respect to our adjunct colleagues, we support the premise that the ratio of full-time to adjunct faculty is too high for the long-term success of our students and student retention. Our members participate in shared governance process and serve on the many college-wide committees and leadership positions on our campus that in many ways ensure that we are fulfilling the mission of our college. Additionally, even though SUNY implemented a statewide hiring freeze, with our support, the college's legal counsel appealed to SUNY's legal counsel in order to hire a full-time faculty member for the Africana Studies program. We have a great deal of work to do in order to grow this department and fill the voids and left after the retirements that have happened across our campus. But this is a good place to start. We will never stop emphasizing the value and importance of every member of our union to our administration, as we are the cornerstones of what makes NCC the important institution that it is. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. Farron, now we're up to you. Okay. So the same question. How would you handle the temporary lines as well as keep all the probationary lines?
Gotta unmute her.
Are you not unmuted?
Right. What's happening?
I don't know. I keep unmuting and then she mutes again. Try speaking.
Okay, so I think I'm unmuted, right?
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, let me start. Our temporary lines don't have much protection in our CBA. However, there are 2 things we can do. First, there's a requirement that the college adhere to a date certain for when the temporary lines must be renewed or not. We must stick to these deadlines and begin our discussion early. When the union is fully prepared and proactive, negotiations are easier. Second, probationary lines, indeed fighting for adding lines, is essential if we are ever to end the saga of our incredibly shrinking faculty. Our priority must be rebuilding our faculty. We need to recover from our 6-year loss of 234 lines. And let me remind you all that this executive committee just agreed to 51 lines lost with no written guarantee of replacement of these lines. So going back, to protect the probationary lines and add lines, we need to make the case for rebuilding our faculty, both to the college and to the community that we serve. Aspires and Achilles provide us with a roadmap for how to get that done. When the community understands the benefits of retaining a program or the need for substantial and vibrant full-time faculty, we can and will successfully make our case. When we put the community back into our college, we will garner the support needed to rebuild. We must take on our immediate problems and challenges, as well as implement a long-term strategy. The new NCCFT slate is ready to do this, and I'm sure many of you have looked at our website. We have all of our plans up there. When we act proactively and not just defensively, we will be effective and able to engage in both a productive dialogue and a renewed partnership with the college. We can, once again, become a full partner with the college. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a housekeeping matter. Whose cell phone 845? Please identify. Okay, while that hopefully is taking care of itself, let's move on to question 6. Karen, you're going to go first. If you're elected, what is the one thing you think is most important to change about how the NCCFT operates as compared to how it operated under Professor Freshenza?
Thank you. The question implies that the current NCCFT officers had no input in the decisions when Professor Freshenza was president. Having served on the executive committee, I know that the officers work collaboratively and vote on all the important decisions.
Farron? Okay.
Okay. The question implies that the current NCCFT officers had no input in decisions when Professor Freshenza was president. Having served on the executive committee, I know that the officers work collaboratively and vote on all important decisions, including the contract. The issue really is how the current executive committee operated with Professor Freshenza and their approach to negotiating and maintaining the contract. I will have a different approach. First, we set our bargaining table the day after a new contract is agreed on, or in our case, the day regular meetings with faculty, departments, chairs, and coordinators of programs well in advance help us craft clear goals for a future contract. Time consuming, yes, but necessary. Second, we must perform our own budget analysis, not rely on the college's conclusions. This will provide us with needed leverage. Third, the best contracts are those that are clear, unambiguous, and satisfy the contracting party's needs. Our contracts framework dates back to the 1970s, and there are contradictory, unclear, and outdated provisions in it. This creates confusion and makes it an unresponsive document, so it's cleanup time. Fourth, we're a public union, and therefore our success depends on the community and the elected official support. We must be perceived as an asset. Again, return the community to the college. Fifth, don't give away the house. Our last few contracts are filled with givebacks. No guaranteed reassigned time for ASEC, making DE classes the same size as face-to-face classes. Giving away our right to go to court in the event of grievance decision is unfair or arbitrary, and the insertion of broad language requiring chairs to return to the campus after June 15th for almost any reason. Now, turning to the issue of MOAs, those memorandums of agreement, no MOA that impacts the full membership rights under the contract should be signed without the membership's input. And let me be clear, I would never agree to the PFU being removed from the P&T process. Last, must maintain and enforce the contract as breaches occur. Failure to do this has weakened our contract over time, and I will maintain our contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Don, I'd like you to respond to the same question. If you're elected, what is the one thing you think is most important to change about how the NCCFT operates as compared to how it operated under Professor Freshenza?
Thanks, Pandora. First, I'd like to say that I stand on the shoulders of giants. I am proud to say that the NCCFT CBA is one of the most mature contracts and one of the strongest in the state. I respect the leaders before me. I believe they made decisions that, at the time, were what they believed were the best decisions for our union and the best decisions for our members. Have I always agreed with every decision that was made? No. But was I standing in their shoes? Was I facing the sleepless nights that come along with knowing that the decisions that are being made will affect every member of our union for maybe years to come? Not at all. I wasn't at that time. Having served in various positions on the executive committee, although we all have a voice at the table, until I walked a day in the shoes of the president of the union, I could never have known the pressures involved with the responsibilities that go along with negotiating for our members, protecting our members, and the honor that goes along with the trust that our members put in us as their elected representatives. I am my own person. I am a unique individual who has had the benefit to learn from many great union leaders. But now it's my turn. It's my turn to implement my own leadership style, one that values inclusion, diversity, and transparency, with a willingness to admit it when I don't know something, and if I'm wrong, to admit that as well. I'm secure enough to ask for help if I need it, and to say I'm sorry if I have a reason. Angela Davis said, "I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept." Let's change what we cannot accept together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Stay where you are. We're moving on to question 7. The memorandum of agreement in which the NCCFT agreed to binding arbitration made permanent Board of Trustees veto power of all future academic senate bylaw changes. What do you think about this?
Thanks, Pandora. Given the complexities of this discussion, I don't believe a soundbite of my opinions as it relates to this matter is appropriate for a 3-minute response. I believe that the Academic Senate, as supported by our CBA, is the key mechanism through which the faculty and other constituencies participate in the governance of the college. In 2016, the Middle States Commission placed the college on probation because it concluded, among other reasons, for concern, that the college did not meet its standards for accreditation in the areas of leadership and governance, which began the discussion and further the review of the Academic Senate bylaws, which eventually led to the discussion and we're having right now and the decision that was made then. The NCCFT, the chair of the ASAC, and the chair of chairs were all involved and present at the discussions along with the administration. But enough of history. The bottom line is, today, if the Academic Senate has an irreconcilable difference with the president, and in an extreme case goes to arbitration, the ASAC has the full weight and financial support of the NCCFT to bring their case to arbitration. I'd like to quote Alice Walker. "The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. I respect and support the power of the academic senate, and this must be reflected in the way we think of and speak about our senate." Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Donna. All right, Farron, you're answering the same question. So let me read it. The memorandum of agreement in which the NCCFT agreed to binding arbitration made permanent the Board of Trustees' veto power for all future academic senate bylaw changes. What do you think about this?
This, in my opinion, was very ill-conceived. The union acted reflexively and out of fear. They broke the cardinal rule of negotiations: never negotiate out of fear. Furthermore, the NCC did this after a vote by the full faculty, which rejected changing the Senate bylaws. That arbitration, binding arbitration, went way beyond its initial charge. It not only gave the Board of Trustees veto power over the Senate bylaws, but removed vital communities from the Senate, planning and campus services. Again, we've seen the disastrous results of this in the bookstore fiasco, where normally the campus services would have had some oversight and input into that decision. The executive committee has repeatedly asserted that binding arbitration is the gold standard of employees. It is not. It is the gold standard for employers. Many of you may not know this, but in 2017 to 20 contract, this current NCCFT leadership agreed to binding arbitration as our last recourse for grievances, thus cutting off a grievance right to go to court in the event of an unfair or arbitrary decision. What this demonstrates is that the current NCCFT officers don't understand the negative ramifications of binding arbitration. We need a union president and union officers who understand these issues and the long-term legal consequences of their decisions. Thank you.
Okay, Farron, stay where you are. Moving on to question 8.
Yes,
In
ma'am.
the past, the NCCFT leadership did not seek any input from the faculty on campus who would be affected by contract changes. For example, more students in online classes. How will the new president seek out faculty who can offer solid evidence on the impact of the changes on faculty and students?
Thank you. I think I made it clear I'm not a fan of generic surveys. So to understand a very diverse faculty, such as ours, the union leadership needs to continually engage with the faculty. I will put into practice what the new NCCFT slate has been doing since we began to offer you a new direction. Continuous consultation, continuous discussions with you. This was something I advocated for when I served on the NCCFT Executive Committee, and which the incumbents then and now have really refused to put into practice. When you have an open door policy, a genuine open door policy, when you ask for, seek out by reaching out, when people know you want, need, and value their thoughts, information, and ideas, this then creates the environment in which true cooperation, a true union spirit can be maintained. The new NCCFT slates, Zoom meet and greets, have proved effective in eliciting faculty ideas, their recent challenges, and many, many unspoken problems. We have received numerous emails in response to our Zoom meetings, and I answer them all. And anybody who knows me knows that I always answer people immediately. And if elected, we will continue this practice of reaching out to the faculty so that an open avenue of dialogue can be maintained and vital information continuously gathered. Thank you.
Okay, Donna, it's your turn. In the past, the NCCFT leadership did not seek any input from the faculty on campus who would be affected by contract changes. For example, more students in online classes. How will the new president seek out faculty who can offer solid evidence on the impact of the changes on faculty and students?
Thanks, Pandora. Well, I appreciate the question. I would have to disagree with the statement that in the past, the NCCFT leadership did not seek any input from the faculty on campus. I have participated in the numerous meetings with members, both formal and informal, that the union has held throughout the years. The NCCFT Executive Committee met with our members this summer in July and again in August to listen to their concerns. We were not campaigning. We were working. We were listening. We were doing our jobs and providing fact-based answers. When we didn't know an answer, we said so, and we did our best to get the answers. We stood strong for you, the members of the NCCFT. I stand before you today, not with divisive words and empty promises, but with action. This past week, I've heard people minimize the work we've done with phrases like small raises, the short 2-year contract, and we've settled for crumbs. I'm here to tell you that together with the executive committee and the elected members of the negotiating committee, I led the team to a successful contract. We accomplished more in these few short months during a crisis than many could have done in a good year. We accomplished what many said couldn't be done. I'm proud to say our membership stood union strong and voted to ratify this agreement in an 86% to 14% vote. And I thank you. From every member on a probationary or temporary line, from every member who may not be in a position to afford additional contributions to healthcare, for every member who needs some stability in this chaotic environment, I say thank you, and we were listening. Thank you, Pandora.
Okay, now we're moving on to closing statements. So Donna, why don't you go first, and then we'll close with Farron.
No, we were doing it the other way.
We're doing it the other way?
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Farron?
Pandora, hold on.
Yeah,
I have to change my time.
Bandura, you know, I don't care, but honestly, the agreement was, and you know, it was in an email that I went first for the opening, and she would go first for the closing, and I would close last. And we verified this morning. So, with all due respect, I think we need to stick with what was said. And Donna,
with all due respect, Farron, you don't get the benefit of an opening and a closing.
that's not the way it works. I know I know you don't understand about
I know, I understand.
closings, but
okay,
you know,
how about this? Give me 10 seconds to have a quiet little chat with the elections committee, and I will get right back to you.
we have the email. I mean, the email
I
established.
know what, I wrote the email, so I know exactly what it says. I just,
You know, and I appreciated it, and that's what I prepared for on the basis of that.
okay. Donna, unfortunately, you're going first.
It's not what I was told, but okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Pandora.
all right.
The NCCFT must organize around solutions, not problems. We have to be realistic, but optimistic, that together we can make our union stronger. I support a spirit of inclusiveness and collaboration. In this time of economic instability and political and social unrest, it's important now more than ever to unite and develop a shared vision of where we are where we should be going, and how we will get there together. The strength of our union is not based on empty promises. It comes from the collective voice of all of its members. It's about the personal commitment of every member to effect change and bring the vision of a better future to fruition. This is our time to raise our voices, respect the past, but look to the future and the possibilities of what our NCCFT can be and will be. Once elected, I will continue to serve the NCCFT as I have continuously for the past decade. I will continue to advocate for and represent the needs of all members while preserving the strength of our contract, which is one of the mechanisms by which we guarantee our assurance of academic freedom and integrity. I believe it is our responsibility to affirm the dignity and worth of every individual on our campus, and I will continue to work with honesty, integrity, transparency, and impartiality to ensure every member respectfully is heard.
Time.
Okay. Baron, your turn to give a 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you, Vandora. I want to thank the Elections Committee for setting this up, to Vandora for moderating, and all of you for this opportunity. Voting will open on October 8th. This election gives you, the faculty, an opportunity to change course. The current union officers have been in office in one capacity or another for 5 to 8 years. It's time for a change. I think we need to understand that over the course of a number of contracts, we have borne 9 raises of 0s and 1%. Only 3 raises have been in the 2% range, and those were years ago. We have had now 5 4.5 steps in 4 contracts. We've had 2 lag pays, and we've also had a number of late start steps. To think that we have not borne the burden of the bulk of the college's stated financial burdens is disingenuous. To think that we have not actually paid for our health insurance with all of these losses is disingenuous. We cannot continue to lose faculty through these early retirement incentives with no guarantee of, in writing, of replacement lines. This template is not sustainable, and it will be the prescription for the demise of our faculty and our college. I and the new NCCFT slate, Susan Cavenett, Judy Shu, Dave Stern, and Val Lagakis, are proposing a new forward-looking vision and concrete plans. With your support and ideas, we can rebuild this faculty and fulfill our college's mission. For those who say this can't be done, I say it can. For those who say it's too much to ask, I say it's not. Now is the time for us to regroup.
Okay, thanks. All right, so the first thing I want to say is everything is done. I am so glad you guys showed up, as I said before. These times when your vote counts, it's really great to see people who are extending themselves to have an informed opinion when they vote. Irregardless of who you vote for, the fact that you came to these forums shows that you're involved, you have an opinion, and you're voting that opinion. But keep in mind, we know who you are. We might tap you to do stuff for our union because you were so involved that when we need people, we will reach out. So don't be surprised if you get an email asking you to do something. Okay, so the process is done. Again, thank you to all of our candidates who I can't imagine what it was like to sit here through this process. But so thank you to the candidates. Thank you to you guys for coming. And you will see these posted on the web shortly because that's what we're doing with the recordings. And that's it. Have a good weekend, actually.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.